Hi Rachel, thank you for agreeing to do a piece to camera this morning where we're going to be exploring with you why you've become a dragon as part of the Iron Woman Dragons. You're patron of the Iron Woman Dragons initiative in Iron Woman. So you are a super successful woman in business. Everyone talks about debatable. talks about you out there. So tell us a little bit about how challenging it was for you when you had an idea and just didn't know what to do with it and started your business. So tell us a little bit about how that happened.
Well, business was challenging because I had no idea what I was doing whatsoever. I had a concept, I had a desire to be self-employed, to create something for myself, to be better, to be more motivated. I understood that working for somebody else was, the security was a bit of a myth. So I knew that I wanted to be self-employed, or do something, or create a company. And in a nutshell, I just didn't know how to do it. Other than registering a company, I really didn't know where to begin and what to do and how to start and who to speak to. I had no contacts. I had some friends who were in business who could guide me. But generally, yeah, there was a real gap, a massive limitations on the resources that I could use to sort of kickstart or even catapult me into where I wanted to be.
Because when you first started some 13-ish years ago, was it? 13, 14?
15 years ago now this year. 15 years ago the company will have started trading in April of this year.
So you've been, 15 years ago when you had this concept and idea, not really knowing where to go with it, what happened? What caused the move forward?
So I'd been made redundant twice. I was really good at administration, customer service, paper shuffling, taking processes, making them better. There was something that had come up on the news regarding a story about background screening in America. We then started looking into that to see what opportunities there were in the UK. Started renting an office in my ex-mining community in a village in the South Wales Valleys. Rented the office for £50 a week, bought a computer and started from there really, just literally Googling everything, trying to find out about legislation, databases, what information was available, how much it would cost, what can you find out about people. Yeah, that was where it all started. I make it sound quite simple. Obviously, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I just started looking into people's backgrounds to see what was publicly available, and then we kind of expanded then through more legitimate database accesses like the DBS or credit checks or identity checks. So over time then I was building the foundations of the services that we would offer.
Because we must have met then 15 years ago. Yeah.
It was, yes. 15 years ago, yes it was.
And I can remember meeting you and you had this amazing idea, but it was a matter of, I think you were looking for £1,200 at that time.
I was looking for something. There was no specific amount I needed, but there were startup grants available, and because at that time I thought what I needed was money, whether it was money to buy help, to buy advice, to buy a printer, to buy another computer, whatever it was, there was this idea that I needed some money to help me. But the startup grants were only available before you started trading, but it took 3 months to get the money. So by that point I'd already spent more than the grant was ever going to give me. So yeah, it just wasn't effective. What I really needed was somebody to point me in the direction, somebody to say, this is the guy you need to talk to about marketing, this is the person who knows about legal issues, legislation, but there wasn't any of that at the time.
And so I can remember when we meet, I almost like pointed you in the right direction of some people who then helped you take your business forward. So do you want to describe that? Just how being connected to the right people at the right time when you have a need and you can almost see the potential of fulfilling that need, and sometimes doing a trade-off in skill in order to get that person involved in your business.
Yeah, I was 23 when I started the business, and I didn't really know what networking was. it was something that was for other people. It wasn't something I thought that I would be able to do or should do or would gain any benefit from. So when I met you, we then went off to a networking meeting, and there I met like-minded people, people who were struggling, people who were trying to make it in business, people who were also full of shit and just pretending that they had all the answers. But ultimately what those groups gave me was this black book, somebody who knew about marketing, someone who knew about software, somebody knew about development and enhancements in business. And then it was through talking to those people and building up relationships that I then had the ability to ask the right questions. So before, I was just throwing my net out and hoping to gather some information that I thought was relevant. But it taught me how to ask the questions I needed the answer to. So if I was stuck on how to process criminal checks or credit checks, and I found out that there was a way to do this online, how would I do it online? So I was able to speak to software developers who could translate this information for me and just put it into sort of layman terms, really, so I can understand how I take the next steps in business, or how I take any steps at all, because otherwise I would have just been stagnant.
And I know for you, you say it's very important when somebody is considering starting up a business to have good communication skills, to know what are the right questions to ask the right person.
Effective communication is critical. It's critical in life. I have recently learned you're not supposed to enforce it too hard on your family. That does upset them. But as a general rule, I try to speak very clearly with people and ask good questions. Too often, people go around the world a little bit. They don't know what their issue are. They're trying to find the solution to it, but they haven't quite worked out the problem. Work out the problem, and then it's much easier to get the answer. So, yeah, effective communication is a big thing for me. And we run training sessions. We outsource to an organisation that runs training sessions with us on a weekly basis to help us communicate, to teach us how to listen without communicating. So listen to the question that's being asked. It's not always a two-way conversation. There's some real skills to be taught and learnt when speaking to people, listening to people's issues. It's the same when it comes to sales. So we don't go into a room with a slick sales pitch and explain what we do and how wonderful we are. We let them tell us what they think their issues are, and then we create the solution for them. So we listen, and then we decide if we can help.
Fantastic. Why was it so important for you to be an Iron Woman Dragon? What is it that you feel you can bring to somebody who needs that startup advice or even business growth advice? Why was this so important to you?
There's a few reasons it's important, and it's important to me in my business. You know, the commercials of it as well, let's be honest. I really want to work with businesses that will grow. I don't just want to work with one. I want to work with multiple organisations that I feel I can, bring something to the table and really help. When I started in business, I wanted somebody to have my back. I wanted somebody to say, don't do that, I've made that mistake, I can save you time and money by not doing it. I'm hoping that I'll be able to make that contribution. I do feel quite passionate about it. I mean, everybody remembers watching the BBC programme Dragon's Den, and I was tempted to pitch. I thought about it, but my issue was at that point I didn't really need any money, and so I didn't, there was a reluctance for me to get involved. But what I was going to do, or what I was considering at the time, was going on to Dragon's Den and saying, for £1, I'll give you 1% of my business, because I didn't want their money, but I needed their guidance. I needed somebody to be able to show me the tricks, show me the ways that I could catapult my business quicker, how I could become scalable without the massive growing pains that so many other businesses face. So I'd really like to think that I could make a difference to somebody's business and be of genuine value to them.
What do you think people coming to this process will be looking to get from you?
I don't know, people think they want money, they don't. Money is something that might help in certain projects along the way, but it's really not about that. It's about time, it's about understanding your skills, it's about leveraging your skills with your clients, your peers, other organisations. Yeah, and I'm just committed to giving my time and what I know.
And that's a biggie, isn't it? You know, if you were just to think
I
of
hope
this
so.
business, 15 years of know-how in developing this black book in your industry.
That's right, but you also, you don't know what you don't know. And I would like for a potential pitcher to be able to embrace that. There are loads of things that they don't know. Same applies to me and everybody else. But I would like somebody to just be quite open-minded. Again, effective communication helps because you can articulate the problems you're facing or the struggles, and then obviously I may be in a better position then to answer those or to create solutions for all of those problems.
Well, thank you so much for being patron of our Iron Woman Dragons, and we look forward to see you in action when you pitch for somebody to come forward to be a mentee of yours, and listening to all those amazing pitches of people coming through and wanting to connect and get a dragon, slay a dragon. So thank you so much, Rachel, for agreeing to being our patron of our Iron Woman Dragons. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm very excited. Thank you.